Hello my diamonds and welcome to my channel. My name is Mabiso, otherwise known as Miss X, and I do all things, or rather I speak on all things property or real estate and self-development. Today will be another video on real estate. I will be looking at the rental process, or the process of acquiring or securing a rental property in South Africa. I hope you stay. Let's get into it. I think this is the best process to go through because I think that if you do it incorrectly, you'll waste a lot of your time and a lot of your money. Right. So let's get into it. So the first things first, contrary to popular belief, viewing apartments is the last thing you should be doing, right? That's the fun part, right? You firstly need to sit down with yourself and understand where you are, what you want, and what are your non-negotiables. So the first thing that you should be looking at is what is your budget, right? What is your budget? And as the rental agents will have it, right? Your rental should be 1/3 of your income, right? So if you 7,000, if you want a 7,000 Rand apartment, you should be earning 7, 14, 21,000 Rand. Right. And that is how we look, even as we process your application, that is what we look for. Right. So, what is your affordability? And as I've just said, rent should take up 1/3 of your income, and you need to consider your utilities as well. So when you're looking online for rental units, that figure, the quoted figure, 10 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times is exclusive of your utilities, right? So now you have decided what your budget is, which has to be 1/3 of your 1/3 of your income. Recommended should be inclusive of your utilities. So in total, if in total you want to have an average spend of 8,000 Rand on household needs, which is your rent, your electricity, your water, 8,000 Rand is your cap. 8, 16, 24,000 Rand minimum is what you should be earning. Right. Now you've gotten that. So when you look, now you've decided, okay, 8,000 Rand is my max. Now you're going to go onto your listing platform, be it Property24, Property Central, Private Property. The first thing you are going to filter, right, is the price. So the max your max must not be 8,000, your max must be 7.5, right? Because I get it, you've included your utilities in that 8,000. Right, but we're not at the point where we're looking online yet. So you've decided that is your maximum budget. Now you need to understand what location, where do you want to stay? Do you want to stay close to work, or would you rather, the closer you are to work is usually the more expensive the unit is going to be. Do you want to stay a little far from work, and can you afford the commute every day, right? Some people usually say they would like to, they would prefer to Uber to work and rather stay for quite far further. That's what I was going to say, right? And these are the things that you need to look at. Where you stay, going to work, are you going to be traveling against traffic or towards traffic? Right? Why do I say this? Because it's going to affect how much you spend commuting to and back from work. And then if you look at the opportunity cost and weigh those two, you'll find that you're better off actually staying closer to work. Right. So what is your location? Location is important. And how far from work are you willing to stay? Right. So ideally, you're going to have the ideal location, and then you're going to have 2 backup locations. So it's going to be backup location A and backup location B. Right. And the opportunity cost of staying in each location. Then you're going to look at what are your non-negotiables. Right. Non-negotiables could be, I'm not staying in a house, or I'm not staying with housemates, right? Or what's this, a flatmate, right? You want the place all to yourself. Non-negotiable, I do not want to have to worry about washing dishes, so it must have a dishwasher. It must have a washing machine and tumble dryer, because those are the things you don't want to worry about. What other non-negotiables? You want a big balcony because you're working from home, right? You're going to be in this place 90% of the time. So you've now decided what your budget, your location, your non-negotiables are, and now you're going to have to go through the process of actually finding this property. Now you go onto your listing platforms. Be it Property 24, Private Property, Property Central, whatever you want. You have to filter it out according to your budget and location. Then from there, you are going to take 10, your top 10. In your top 10, right, you are going to message the agent. Before you even view, you are going to message the agent. What are the utilities that are paid on this rental? That's the message you send. Because then you'll find that you're going to pay, they'll tell you electricity is prepaid, but then you have to pay domestic effluent, water, service fee, refuse collection, something like that, right? And I want to interrupt here and say, people like to come to us agents and say, well, no, the landlord is not allowed to pass on levies to me. The landlord is allowed to pass on any and every expense that is related to the use of the property, right? So levies, that domestic effluent, a lot of landlords pass on to their tenants. Service fee, okay, sometimes they're not that mean. So I think it's a service fee that you sometimes creep into the levy statement. Any and everything that is related to the use of the property can be handed over to the tenant. The only thing that a landlord is not allowed to charge you is an expense related to the ownership of that property. So rates and taxes, they cannot charge onto you. Right? So domestic effluent, service, okay. Sometimes, I know landlords sometimes, the levy that is not, the levy that is associated to common property in the complex, that is one that they actually tend to keep to themselves. But all the others, they push onto the tenant, right? Yeah, and sometimes that's the negotiating factor with other people. But that's a conversation for another day. So you're going to ask, what are the utilities associated with this rental? From there, probably half are going to then put you above your budget, right? Ask whether electricity is prepaid or not. And believe me, you would want to take a unit that has prepaid electricity. You don't want to be fighting over that electricity bill every month. Right, so from that 10, probably half now don't qualify. So now from that 10 that still fit your criteria, you are going to choose 4. You are going to go and view 4 units, right? We are now in the viewing process. You are going to go and view 4. When you view that unit, right, first thing you need to look at, how is the light? Where is the light coming from? Is there adequate light coming into that property? Because you'll find some units, it's a ground floor, it's in a corner somewhere, and that property is dark half the time. You're going to be miserable in that property. the bathroom. The light, the bathroom, two of the most important things you need to check. The bathroom, is it breathable? Right? What do I mean by is the bathroom breathable? You get to properties and you just cannot breathe in the bathroom because of how damp they are. Right? Most important thing is to go into that bathroom. If you don't take anything from this video, take this. Go into the bathroom when you are viewing a property. You're not just looking, is it pretty? You're looking whether, is it going to be practical to live in here? Right? That bathroom is one of the important things that you need to look at, because sometimes it smells like paint, right? Because the tenant has just moved out. But if it smelled like paint, it means that they had to paint over that mold that grows in the ceiling. You know when a bath, and that problem is going to be a pain for you when you are living in that unit, right? Also ask, why did the previous tenant leave? Right? That can tell you a lot about a property. But that bathroom, if you cannot breathe in that bathroom, or that bathroom is super dark and you're viewing in broad daylight, that bathroom is going to be a problem for you when you're living in that unit. Right, so you've seen the light, you've seen the bathroom. The next thing that I think you should look at are the utilities, of course. Is electricity prepaid? Can you control the geyser inside the unit? Because that's an electricity shower. And I think those are the most important things that you should be looking at when looking at a property. Yes, obviously you can look at its aesthetics, but light and that bathroom are the most important things that you should be looking at. Right, so you have viewed the property, 4 of them. Out of that 4, you're going to choose your top 2. You are going to apply to 2, and this is how you are going to apply. You place a full application with your top unit, the one that you really want to live in, right? And then you're going to ask them for your credit record or your credit report. Take that credit report and give it to the second place that you want to apply to, and apply with that credit report. Because if you do a lot of inquiries on your credit record at the same time, it will affect your credit score. It will bring it down, right? So apply full application to one, ask for the credit report. You are entitled to the credit report, right? And then apply to the others with that one. Some people say they don't, can you give your own credit? Some agencies don't like accepting other credit reports, but you have to let them know that you are not the one that generated it. It was from another agency, right? Because they don't accept things like ClearScore or the consumer facing. They don't accept the consumer facing credit reports. We agents have the ability to go into the credit bureau type database, right? That's where we can check your credit rating, your Experian, TransUnion, those ones. So those are the ones that they usually take. And hopefully from then you will be accepted into your dream apartment. And that is really the process of applying for a rental unit. You can negotiate. So when do you negotiate? You can negotiate after you've known that the thing is accepted. If you know your credit score is clean and it'll be accepted, you can negotiate before the application, right? Sometimes the application is full and the agent is going to tell you, the application has been completed, the agent is going to tell you your application has been accepted, and that's when you come and say, okay, but now I want to negotiate my rent. 9 out of 10 times, landlords don't want to sit with an empty unit, and they will accept the negotiation. But you also mustn't be ridiculous with that negotiation. And then when you move in, I'm going to leave it there. There'll be I'll do a different video on what you need to do when you move in your rental apartment. Right, and I think these are the adequate processes from an agent, right? Telling you how you can source and secure your rental apartment in South Africa. Yeah, a few questions. If you're applying as you have a flatmate, how does it work? So if you're applying with your flatmate, you're applying for a unit, let's say 7,000 Rand. So in your application, the amount that we will be assessing you for will be obviously 50% of that 7,000 Rand. Even when we are looking at the application, we don't include the utilities, we just include the rental amount. So if it's 7,000 exclusive utilities, we'll be looking at it 3,500. Can you afford 3,500 if you're doing it with your flatmate, right? Or whatever arrangements that you have with your flatmate. Since if it's a 2-bedroom and the other room has an ensuite, and then you're going to be paying maybe 55% of the rent and the other one is paying 45% of the rent, obviously we'll do the calculation and do 55% of 7,000, and that's what we'll be assessing you on your credit record. So your credit record, what we do, we punch in, will you be able to afford 5,000 Rand, and it punches out your credit history, and they'll say likely, less likely, you know, and it'll show how you've been paying your previous payments. And really, sometimes we do have a final say, but sometimes if a landlord is motivated, we give them the facts and say, accept at your own risk. Right, if you have any other questions, please leave them down below in the comment section. If you know someone looking for a rental unit in South Africa, please do share this video with them. This has been Abiso, Miss X, otherwise known as Miss X, and we were speaking about the rental process in South Africa for a rental apartment or unit or property, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to say thank you for joining me. And thank you for allowing me into your space. Until next time. Hello my diamonds, and welcome to my channel.